Imagine for a moment that the first words out of your mouth every single day were a declaration of gratitude. Immediately upon arising, Orthodox Jews say a tefillah, or a prayer, called moda'ani. We spend our first conscious moments of the day thanking the Creator of the heavens and the earth for the gift of life. And after having expressed that deeply seated gratitude that resides in the primal consciousness of our souls, we immediately wash our hands ritually and make the bracha, or blessing, al netilat yadayim. This blessing allows us to sanctify our bodies, specifically our hands, to do holiness and acts of righteousness. At this point, I rush upstairs to attend to my babies, who are usually very eager to get out of their cribs and to have their diapers changed, as well as a clean pair of clothes put on. Because there is a bathroom situated right next to their room, I do my skincare routine in order to make sure that I'm feeling my best, and it is understood from the sages that it is actually a mitzvah, or a positive commandment, to clean your face every single morning. At this point, I bring my sons downstairs in order to prepare them some breakfast. I put them into their high chairs and prepare them a snack, so that they can have something to munch on while I'm getting their eggs ready. In the Jewish religion, there is a prohibition against consuming blood. So before I prepare my children's eggs, I meticulously turn over each egg in a separate bowl in order to check it for blood spots. According to Jewish law, you can simply pick the spot out and discard it. However, the yolk often breaks, so I just simply discard the egg. While my sons are eating, I get dressed and put on my headscarf. And now that I'm properly dressed, I sit down to say my morning blessings. These blessings are too lengthy and complex to completely address in this video. However, the gist of these blessings is expressing gratitude towards God for giving us different blessings and gifts in our lives that we often take for granted. One of these prayers is called Elokai Neshama. It's an incredibly beautiful prayer as it expresses how each individual human life contains the unique breath of godliness inside of it. In fact, at the time of birth, God breathes life into each individual human being. Therefore, our souls are pure. In this prayer, we acknowledge that God gave us life, that He gives us life, and that at the end of our lives, He will take our souls from us, only to then restore them to us with the resurrection of the dead, which will occur at the end of times. The belief in the resurrection of the dead is one of the 13 principles of faith as elucidated by the Rambam. The reason why we say this in the morning is because we believe that sleep is a manifestation of resurrection, albeit on a microcosmic level. It is understood that the soul transcends into different states of consciousness while one is asleep. And it is brought down that sleep is actually 1/60th of death. Therefore, there is an impurity of death that we encounter in sleep. When we awaken, it is a renewal and a rebirth and a resurrection, if you will, from the dead back into our alive consciousness. At this point, I had to use the restroom. So now I am given the opportunity to speak about the prayer Asher Yetzar. Asher Yetzar is a blessing recited after an individual uses the restroom, and it expresses gratitude towards good health, functioning bowels, as well as awe over the divine handiwork of the Creator.
While I was in the restroom, discovered that the boys took all of their orange juice that I gave them and spilled it in their playpen. And then Mikhail slipped and fell. You're fine, honey.
And now it's time to clean. Oh, joy!
People are like, oh, what do you do all day? You're just at home? Clearly, you have never met a boy mom before. Because the kinds of messes I have to clean, often made within just 30 seconds of one another. The number of times a day I have to do that, I at least spend at least 4 hours of my day just cleaning up after the boys.
I mopped the floor with soapy water off camera, and now I'm drying it with a towel.
And this is my other son's favorite activity. It's climbing onto the table, which I repeatedly pick him up and put him down, and then he just proceeds to climb immediately back up onto the table.
And then I remembered I still have a mess on the floor to clean up from breakfast.
So one of the things that I think some people know about me is that me and my husband are clergy. So my husband is a rabbi, and something that's common for people who are clergy is wherever they work, they just have housing provided to them. So our employers own a couple of places and we just frequently move to like different houses because they'll like need one house to host a summer camp, or they'll need one house to host some guests. And we're fine with that, but it does get a little bit difficult because we do move around so much. We're almost like nomadic. We've moved 5 or 6 times in the past year. And because we move so much, every place that we go to, we have to get new like accommodations and things to baby-proof each space, because each space is different. Like for example, in this house that we're staying in, there's a really huge walkway and we need at least a 74-inch baby gate. So we're waiting for that to arrive in the mail in order to enclose my children into one space. So until then, I just have to run after them and chase after them and prevent them from like nearly killing themselves because of the crazy stuff that they do, such as climbing onto this bookshelf, climbing onto this table, putting their hands in this urn, trying to eat their own poop, slipping and falling on the floor. And that baby gate isn't arriving until like Friday. So it's just very hectic, and a lot of my time is just spent running after the kids and trying to prevent them from dying. So now that we are high on coffee and have cleaned a third of the house, let's finally make Ima some breakfast.
I'm currently dieting because I'm in the process of losing weight, and so what I make myself every morning is a 2-egg omelet with a thin slice of cheese and cherry tomatoes. Very high protein and very filling. And I'm sure, as you can guess, we make a blessing over our food. I'm saying the blessing of Sheha Kol Nia Bidvaro and Bore Pri Ha'adama, which is said over vegetables. Around this time, I put on my makeup, which, contrary to what you may think, is actually very integral in a Jewish home, that a married woman should put on makeup to beautify herself for her husband. There is no prohibition against cosmetics, and in fact, many of the famous Jewish women who lived, such as Queen Esther, used them regularly. There are some communities, however, that are stringent not to use them or to use them very, very sparingly, such as certain sects of Hasidim. However, this is just a stringency and there's no law against cosmetic use. I find it to be very relaxing and therapeutic and good for my marriage.
So now that I'm put together, I feel good. It's time to start some editing.
At this time, I get started on whatever project I need to, whether it be content or responding to emails, but right now I'm creating some content and just editing certain things that I'm going to be putting up on my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube in the following days.
Now my husband is coming home for breakfast. So in the Jewish religion, you have to, if you're a man, say a full Shemona Esrei, the Amidah, which is a formal prayer that consists of, I think, 18 blessings. And so he has just now done that, so I am making him an omelet, and then he'll be heading back to work.
My husband is a very naturally slender man, so I try to make sure I make him an omelet with 3 eggs and lots of cheese.
Okay, my husband came home, and I flipped his omelet and gave him his omelet. He ate it, he left, and now I'm just working on more editing on my phone. Once I'm finished with that, then my next task is to go through my DMs and to respond to different businesses that I'm doing collaborations with, and just get in touch with them, see if there's any new projects, what projects need further revising, working on, etc. But before we can get into any of that, we have to put my sons down for their nap.
1 hour later.
And the babies are awake. Yeah, they're awake. And they're sad. They're sad. So now, husband is back, and he's going down for his nap. All the men have naps. So I'm going to end this little mini vlog right here, because all we have left to do today is get dinner going. And I need to sit down and do my responses to all these different businesses that I'm collabing with. And yeah, very exciting stuff. Thank you for joining me. Hope this was interesting and informative and gave you a little bit of a sneak peek into my life. All right, bye-bye.